There's a lot of great marketplaces in the sports card hobby, but if you want to trade, where do you go? Well, Secure TradeClub may have the solution for you, and we're going to sit down with the founder and learn all about it next. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to a special episode. I am sitting down with the entrepreneurial founder of a new service for the hobby. It's Secure TradeClub. And Eric, welcome to Sports Card Investor.
Man, thank you so much for having us here. It is an honor to be able to sit down with you and share what we got going on.
And I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited for the audience to hear your story for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think Secure TradeClub is a really interesting product that you guys are building here, a really interesting service. We're going to talk more about this in just a minute. I also think your entrepreneurial story is interesting. And I had the opportunity, you'd send me information about that. I had the opportunity to hear more about that. And I think there's a lot of people in the audience that are probably, thinking about maybe, do I want to do my own business or entrepreneurial thing, whether it's in sports cards or outside of sports cards sometime in the future. So there's some lessons you can learn here from Eric as well. We'll get to that part second.
Sounds good.
First, I want to talk about Secure TradeClub. And Eric reached out to our team probably a few months ago and said, hey, we're a new secure trading platform. I'm interested in sponsoring a video here and being able to come on and tell the audience more about it. And, we obviously do those types of sponsorship things. But as Eric told us about the service, we said, this has a lot of utility. We don't accept every sponsor who comes to us, but we thought this one was pretty unique because what strikes me is there are a lot of places you can go buy and sell cards.
Absolutely.
But if you want to trade,
right,
it's at this point, it's primarily an in-person type of thing, and you're looking to try to change that.
That's right. For so long, I started thinking about my childhood, right? I mean, as a kid, I traded cards. They're called sports trading cards. I mean, that's what I did. And missing that niche in the hobby has been difficult to find where to do that at. So you go on social media, and I think probably everybody out there has lost a few cards doing some online trading, different things like that. And so really it was kind of birthed out of this desire to build a marketplace, a platform that was focused not just on the buy and sell, because you can do that there as well, but really the trade aspect was something that was close to my heart. I love the thought of being able to go on and not just trade with somebody but to be able to trade in a secure way with somebody who has similar interests with you that you don't know. And that's really was one of the foundational moments of building this platform, is saying, okay, how can we bring something to the hobby that we believe is really needed? As a collector, I've been collecting since middle school. I believe it's really needed. And so really SecureTradeClub.com is birthed out of that. It's birthed out of the need for, instead of going to 5 different places trying to figure out how to handle things in the hobby, you can go to one place, and one place that is secure, that is open to anybody that collects and really loves the hobby as much as we do.
So good entrepreneurial advice. And this is, when I'm mentoring startups and talking to entrepreneurs, I often say that the best startup ideas, the best businesses are born out of solving a problem.
Yes.
And solving a problem that the founder himself has experienced, right?
Correct.
So oftentimes if you have a frustration in your life with whatever it is, there may be a business opportunity to solve that frustration for yourself and for others. So in your case, longtime hobbyist, love trading, want to be able to trade, but hadn't found a secure way to do that online, and it sounds like had some bad experiences.
I did, and I've lost my account on all over the place trying to figure out how to do it the right way because, first and foremost, I wanted to do it with integrity. I wanted to do it the right way, and so not finding a place to really do it that also I felt secure in handling a trade, kind of said, well, if nobody's really out there doing it the way that I think it could be done, why not jump out and do it? And so it's been a fun journey. It's been a very difficult journey because, when I get somebody who says, hey, I've got a great idea to start up something, I usually say, do you have anything else you can do? If not, okay, go down that path. Because, it is a hard journey. It is something that if you're not passionate about it, then you oftentimes want to quit. I think I tell my wife about 5 times a day that I want to just, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I remember how much I love it. And so really the trade aspect was the first part of it. And it's grown into something so much bigger than I'd ever dreamt. Really and truly, it is now a platform that's pretty unique in nature, that you can not just buy, sell, trade, but you can do auctions, fantasy auctions that we can talk about after a while. We're doing a lot of stuff with charity that's close to our heart. Live stream with auctions, all sorts of stuff that we have on there.
Okay, so we're going to get to that. What are the basics though? For someone who's not familiar, has never been on Secure Trade Club, how does the basics of it work if somebody's interested in coming to the website and using it to do trading with other people?
Yeah, so we kind of think of the hobby place inside of the marketplace of SecureTradeClub.com. We kind of think of it as a show, right? A trade show. When you go to a trade show, the first thing you see are dealers everywhere. They all have their showcase. Now, if you're like me, one of the things that I love to do is I love to take what I brought into the show, go up to the dealer, go up to the showcase, and say, "Hey, are you guys trading? Is there anything that I have that you'd be willing to trade?" So we took that idea and really applied it to a technology. So everybody who comes onto SecureTradeClub.com, the first thing they're going to do is say whether they're just there to buy and trade or if they're there to buy, sell, and trade. And that kind of takes them down the path that gets them set up within the system. Once they're in there, they get their own digital showcase. And we think of it as a showcase because just like when they open up that showcase and they take one item out, two items out, three items out, the bigger the trade, the more fun the trade. We kind of do the same thing on the platform. So when you have your items listed within your showcase, which again is super easy, we concentrated on user friendliness every step of the way. I am not only am I a hobbyist, I'm also a technologist. And so really building this properly was key. And so when they actually load their items inside their showcase, they can find people with similar interests. They can look for similar athletes that they collect, similar teams they collect. Then they can build the trade on the platform itself. When they build the trade, they can select one item for one item, multiple items for multiple items. They can add cash to the deal because we know that sometimes deals aren't completely even, so they can add more items. And then they can actually get how they want the deal to flow. If they want to ship it direct to the individual, if they want to set up a mediator to handle the deal, there's a lot of things they can do that ensure that security is there. And also every member who comes to the site, they're also verified for correct information, as well as they go through, there's actually level of verifications to make sure that you're trading with somebody who's secure, who's been verified. And we even have those that are kind of double verified, if you will. So it's really easy to use, but at the same time, it is for the hobbyist who loves to buy, sell, trade, but really has been doing it for 1 day or 100 days. That's that easy to use.
So if I wanted to come on here and let's say kind of set up a showcase or maybe just look at what other people have, is there any cost to get started to do that at the beginning?
Yeah, so you can jump on the site right now. You can start looking around. You can do anything that you want to do. The second that you decide you want to buy something, you can set up a free account, a free buy account. You jump on there, create the account. I think people create the accounts in about 10 seconds. Once they're on there, though, when you're going to actually do the purchase, you just put in your buy information, whatever you prefer, and then you're set. The only sell that we have, the only fees that we have is for those that are selling on the site and using the other features. And then we get into a nominal percentage or a monthly fee, that kind of stuff. So like $5 a month. So
people
it's pretty easy.
People can go check it out. They can explore the site, see what's
Absolutely.
there. If they start transacting, if they start selling, trading, that type of thing, then
that's correct.
when some of the fees start.
That's correct. And you can buy on there all day and all night, no cost. It's just really when you get into the selling that obviously this is not a cheap system. We poured a lot of time, effort, and energy into it, and so the cost just goes right back into it. And I think that's one of the things that I was most passionate about. It's building something that's not just I'm a collector, users are a collector, members are a collector on there, but really building something with their ideas in mind. So one of the unique things to us are people can actually write in with their ideas. They can contact us with, man, it'd be great if I could do this inside the hobby. And then we actually set that through a process on our back end to where by the end of, say, 3 months, they might actually see their ideas come alive in our platform. So we're actually we're allowing hobbyists to give us feedback on what they'd like to see. And processes change in our systems all the time based on the feedback we get. So we're really trying to build a marketplace with the collectors actually involved in the process.
Let's go. It's the right way to do it.
Yeah, we listen a lot.
Listen to the customers, build based upon customer demand. That's the right way to do it.
That's it.
So there are some other platforms that are trying to start in the trading space. Obviously, there's a lot of marketplaces out there. I know there's some aspects to what you're doing that are really unique and different.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to kind of bring everything into one location. So when a member comes onto our site, yes, they have the buy, sell, trade. They have the marketplace field. They can connect with other members. They can bring their followers to the site. We do a heavy notification. We believe that communication is the key to pulling this thing off. So we send out alerts for everything inside the system. Everybody gets notified. But then we also bring some fun to the hobby. So we're actually bringing in not only auctions, but we're also bringing in fantasy auctions. It's a whole new concept that our team kind of came up with. We love doing them. But it's actually combining fantasy sports with auctions.
Talk to me about this. How does this work?
Yeah, so let's say again, I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, so that's just the way that it is. So let's say that the Cardinals are playing today's game, and I have let's just say that I have a Arenado signed jersey, right? And I put it up for fantasy auction. So we'll usually run about a 3 to 5 day auction, depending on how long the game is, when the game is at. And from there, we'll tie it to a fantasy stat. So let's say that we say Arenado has to hit a double in the game this Saturday. All right. So the auction ends Friday night. If you bid, win, and pay for that Arenado jersey by Friday night, if Arenado gets a double on Saturday, you get the jersey and you get your money back. You get a free item. So it's combining this love for fantasy sports and a love for buying sports memorabilia, and we're doing it each week. We run these things all the time. In fact, this last week we had a Tatis signed jersey because he was coming back, and we tied it to a hit on Saturday just to see him get a hit. He did. The person got the jersey, and they got their money back.
Very cool. That's neat. And I know there's a charity aspect to what you're doing as well. Charity auctions,
There
right?
is. That is a part of our heart. So for me, I do a lot of stuff. I actually came out of the nonprofit world, 501c3. I've worked for charities. I've worked for churches. There are all sorts of groups. And one of the things that we know is they really struggle when it comes to putting charity auctions together. It's sometimes hard for organizations to go out and start asking for stuff to put into the charity, and sometimes they get stuff that nobody really wants, and so people are just bidding on it. So what we decided to do was to find a partner that had an increase in inventory, a massive inventory, and we found a partnership out of Nashville with a group. And so what we're doing is we're actually building this platform for charities to be able to come on and be able to pick out inventory for their charity auction.
Interesting.
Yep. So they come on, they pick out their items out of the inventory we already have on there, and also our members, our dealer partners, our members can select items out of their own showcase and make them available for charity auctions. So if I'm a charity, I have no money out of my pocket. I come on to Secure Trade Club. I become a part of it. I pick out the items for my charity auction. We give them all the QR codes, all the marketing tools. They can then blast it out to their members, set it up for a 7-day, 10-day, however long the auction is. And then once the items sell, the people who put the items in the system, they're the ones who are shipping the items. They're the one who are getting the money that they were asking back, and then the charity gets 100% of the rest of the money. So charities literally can come on with no risk involved, and they can make money for their charity. So we've done several of these so far, and so we've been able to see charities that do smaller ones that are making a couple of $1,000s, and others that are now about to launch some larger ones. And then we also even have some athletes who are getting involved with their own charities, and they're going to be doing charity auctions through it. So that's a big part of our heart. That is where the rubber meets the road for us. We believe that doing good while doing good is what Secure Trade Club is all about.
Cool. It's a great story. That's really neat. That's
absolutely
awesome. All right, so I want to hear a little more about your background.
Sure.
Real quick though, just for folks who are interested in some of the things you have to say so far. SecureTradeClub.com.
Correct.
Just go to the website.
That's correct.
Sign up, everything right there.
SecureTradeClub.com, the website. You can sign up. Just click Get Started. And then all our socials are Secure Trade Club.
Okay. And if you guys have any questions for Eric, any comments, thoughts, ideas you want to share so far, leave those in the YouTube comments. Eric's going to be reading them and would love to see what your feedback is, certainly from the audience perspective.
Absolutely.
Love to hear a little more about your background and your entrepreneurial journey. Hopefully this is kind of an educational part of the video. Right?
Yes, for sure.
So talk about, I know you said you've been in the hobby for a while.
Have been.
Tell us about that.
Sure. So growing up, my father and I connected around the hobby. He actually worked for a charity out in Fort Worth, Texas. And the Dallas Cowboys started playing charity basketball games for his charity. And so he started touring around the country, and they would play charity basketball games. I got to be the ball boy for the Dallas Cowboys growing up back in their Super Bowl years.
Wow.
And actually my first,
to be the ball boy.
It was my first stereo system I had, to date me a little bit, was purchased by the Dallas Cowboys. All the players started throwing money in a hat. So let's buy him a stereo. And so
that's fun.
So anyway, so that was fun. But that really got us started in the hobby. in a major way. We actually launched a card project back in 1996 called Cowboy Billia, and the money was going towards the charity, but we also had some partners in it, Mountain Memories and Collector's Edge. And so Collector's Edge helped us get started in the hobby as well by, through their card products. We were buying a lot of their card products and working with them. And from that, just started trading my way into a true collection. Traded with my buddies. I would trade a King Griffey or Bo Jackson for King Griffey. I didn't trade my Griffies.
Okay.
Yeah, Griffey stayed in my collection. So I had to give up a Bo Jackson, which I loved. But
yeah.
you know the drill.
Yeah.
And from there, just really started turning into something a little bit larger. I got into sports memorabilia, started buying, selling, and trading sports memorabilia. Put myself through college doing it. Really and truly, after my wife and I got married, really started a family through buying, selling, and trading sports memorabilia, and just fell in love with the hobby. But one of the things I love the most is the purity of the hobby. I love the fact that my son now does it. I love the fact that my family's involved with it, that I got to do it with my dad.
Yeah.
It brought us so close as a father and son. And now grandfather and grandson, my son and my father, still go out to shops, hobby shops all over, card shows, and they're doing the same thing. And so there was a purity to it that I just loved and have never let go of. Started working at trade shows, got a chance to meet a lot of athletes and a lot of people inside the hobby, and again, just continue to kind of expand upon the people who we worked with, the people who we got to know, and just continue to deepen those relationships to the point to where now, man, doing SecureTradeClub.com feels like I should have done this forever ago.
Yeah.
Because it's just something that's so passionate. I'm so passionate about it. I love the hobby.
Yeah, I can tell your passion 100%. And obviously having family tied into it,
It means the
dad and son and all that kind of, like, I mean, I feel the same thing when I do this stuff with my son around the hobby. Like, it's just such a special thing, such a special father-son experience. So that's really cool that was part of your story, which then helped inspire this.
It did.
So when did you have the idea for this? You talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but when did you go from just having an idea, seeing the need, to actually making the leap, to actually commit to doing this?
Yeah. I remember the day my heart stopped. I remember that day. So it was actually about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
Had the idea. We actually live in the Central Florida area.
So that would have been what, a little bit before the pandemic.
A little bit before.
We're going back to what, 2019
It
or
was
so?
right there,
Yeah.
2019. I had my wife and kids at Disney World, believe it or not. We're in the Central Florida area. And they were on a ride, and I was standing outside and just kept thinking about this card deal that I was trying to work on, and how what was missing in the hobby was a secure way for me to do it. I'd just been scammed. I had lost some stuff, and I was like, man, this isn't right. I'd lost an account on some other things by saying the word trade by accident. So what I really wanted to do was create something to where I could use it. I wanted something that would be fun for me to use, something that my son and I could trade on and have fun. So this idea kind of came around. And then I did nothing with it.
Okay.
I just sat on it.
A lot of people have ideas.
Ideas are no problem to come up
Right.
with, right? The action statement was the hard thing. And so I did share it with my wife, and she filed it in our file cabinet of Eric's Big Ideas, which was about 600 ideas at that point. But this one was different because it was something I truly was passionate about. So it was about 6 months later, I would say, when I finally said, you know what? I got to do something with this. It keeps coming back around. It's something I keep thinking about. I can't just keep sitting on this. Somebody else is going to do it. So I branched out right before COVID hit and had this great idea to do it. And so my wife and I took out a lot of our own funding. We took out a lot of our own finances, and my wife said, hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it. So took a run at it.
You hire developers, or?
I did.
Okay.
So I come from a technical background. I've done projects before. I actually have worked at companies all the way to run our own project. We do a lot of work in some of our other projects with the mental health population. And so I'm inside of technology quite a bit. And again, inside the community quite a bit, because that's our heart. So making this over, I knew all the pitfalls I'd already fallen into. I knew every way not to do it. I thought I did. I've actually found one other million ways not to do it after I launched. But the launching process was really kind of that moment where time stood still.
And when was that process? When did you actually go up?
It would have been right before COVID.
Right before COVID.
It would have been before COVID that I ventured out on it. And the site actually it really didn't make it to live at that point. It started to stumble around, and even though we got about midway through where I wanted it to be, because you never launch when you're ready. If you launch when you're ready, you will launch too late. That's one of the biggest keys. You'll never launch.
I talk about that,
100%. And so we had to go with the system we had, not the system we wished we had. And that was a big moment for us. And so we got midway through what we thought was going to be our big moment, and it just didn't work. It flat out didn't work.
Why didn't it work?
I would like to say that it didn't work because we didn't have the right pieces at the time.
Okay.
These type projects happen in real time. So when we launched, we didn't know what we didn't know. And I know that sounds like a pretty silly statement, but when we launched, we thought we knew enough to be able to get this off the ground, but we didn't. We were missing some key, what I say, people now, but at the time I didn't know. They were just pieces of the puzzle were missing. So what we set out to do, I actually lost a lot of money. And so I made mention I'm a part of a church, and we had a big church event, and I went actually to see our CPA for our other project, and he's a family friend and just an incredible man. And so went up to him and told him, I said, hey, Tom, I'm going to need your help with something. And he said, what's that? I said, I need to shut a company down. One, he didn't know I had a company that was started, so that made for a little bit interesting. He said, well, hold on, tell me about this. So I started telling him about this passion project that I had started and how it just didn't work and how everything fell through the cracks, and man, it just wasn't going to work. And he said, before you close it, let's have a conversation. And if I could go back to the moment in time that was a turning point for the project and for me, it would be that moment. Because I was ready to throw in the towel. I was deflated, I was defeated, I was done. And then he stepped in and said, no, let's hold it for a second. Let's look at this. And when he did that, then all of a sudden he started bringing other people on board. We have an incredible group of partners and investors who jumped in and said, let's make this happen. And that was again, probably for me, one of the greatest single moments in the life of this project.
When was that?
It would have been after COVID. COVID killed us.
Right.
That was another big reason that it did not get off the ground.
So this was like 2021?
This would have been about late 2021.
Early, okay.
Yep.
Right.
and then we actually were
about
doing
a year and a half ago.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we did a soft launch after that because we got what we needed to start rebuilding. We started putting everything back in
changing the tech in a different way.
We did.
Okay.
I had a whole new team of developers on the project, which that's so key too.
Yeah.
Having the right people in the right roles.
Yeah. It's hard to find. I mean, that's the toughest
so
thing when you're
hard to
starting any
find.
company is getting the right people in the right roles and especially,
Absolutely.
and you've got somewhat of a technical background, you said, but especially for like non-technical founders
Sure.
who are trying to build a technology solution, that's tough.
It is.
They have to trust their development team so much. They're technologists and they don't know, right? It's a challenge. That's a real challenge. And I've seen that go, unfortunately, not well for a lot of people. Sometimes it goes well. Like sometimes if you find the right technology partner, even if you're non-technical, like it could be a great, marriage.
Sure.
But it doesn't always go that way.
And you always have to keep the rule of trust but verify, right?
Trust but verify,
even if your technologists are telling you this is the right path, verify that information. I had to do that over and over again. And how do you verify it? Exactly what you said earlier. You listen.
Yeah.
You stop everything and you just listen. It looks like progress is backing up. But the reality is oftentimes when you're backing up, it's because I was going in the wrong direction anyway. So I had to back up, really stop, listen, learn, and then adjust. So when we soft launched this project up at a Chicago show back in November of 2022, it did not do so well even then.
Okay.
It was ahead of where we probably thought it was actually behind where we thought it was, but we were kind of ahead of schedule a little bit. We didn't actually think we were going to launch until first of the next year. I think I'm getting my dates confused. They would have been November because we're in 2023. It was November 2021 when we actually did the soft launch, and then it did not go so well. And then first of 2022 is when we did a live launch. That's when we did the full launch. And things started to really turn around at that point. We started to learn a lot of difficult lessons. And those lessons still to this day continue on. We continue to hear, we continue to learn, we continue to grow. But what we did not think would happen truly happened. People started to give us great feedback. People started to adopt the system. People started to buy, sell, and trade on the system. People started to have activity. And even though it was small activity, it was activity.
Enough activity to show you that you were onto something.
That's right. That's
to
right.
Help validate the concept.
Absolutely.
The concept that you had first tried to launch, 3 years ago.
I'm telling you.
Finally, you get to the point where now you're starting to see some validation, people actually using it the way that it's supposed to be used and getting the results they want to get.
And saying, man, this is so needed in the hobby. We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
This is so needed in the hobby. And any project that you're doing, whatever it is, when you have that kind of validation, it is just like somebody just gave you the greatest gift on the planet Earth.
It feels good.
And the flip of that's also true. When you hear that when you hear that somebody doesn't like what you're doing, it can be discouraging. But at the same time, what we've decided is every time we get negative feedback or we get somebody who says, I don't like this, the way this works, we take that and we grow with it, because those really are your growth moments. Those are your moments where you either stick your neck in the sand and you kind of hide from those, or you embrace those and you adjust. And I think that any project that is going to survive past the early concept stage is going to be those that are listening, adapting, and growing the project. And so that's what we've tried to do with Secure Trade Club from day one.
Cool.
Always listening. The negative feedback is as much appreciated as the positive sometimes when it's done with some constructive criticism. But you know, it helps us grow. It helps us get better, because we know we're new to the hobby as a marketplace. We know that we're up and coming, but yet we're still very new. We're still very much growing and adapting and changing. And so we love to learn. We love to make this thing what everybody wants it to be, not just what in our heads we think it should be.
And here we are now, you know, in April of 2023, and you've had this incredible journey, but where do you go from here? Like, what's next? Where are you hoping that this all goes?
Well, we want to continue to see this thing grow from a population standpoint. My original dream in this was a community connected.
Okay.
Not just the hobbyists that we know about, not just the hobbyists that are on there who we love and they're great members. We want to see a community connected. We want to see that those who have had a troubled past, who are now saying, man, I never do anything online, I have been scammed too many times. We want to see them give us just one shot. Give us an opportunity to show this platform what it can do, and then grow with them. Continue to grow this thing properly. We have a lot of ideas. I promise you, we're not at a lack of ideas, but we want to do them properly. So we have an internal system that we do, that when we get feedback, when we get ideas in, we document them. From there, when we hear it 3 different times by 3 different people, they go into a production level, and then those ideas start to become real life. We have a lot of ideas that have come in from members. We have a lot of ideas that are internal on the team. So growth is 100% what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to make this even more user-friendly, continue to grow it into features, and eventually the dream is that we can start to cross over to some other genres of collectible as well. We know that people collect multiple things, and we want to be able to have a platform that can cross that divide as well, so that we could see eventually, you know, who knows, comic books and cards and coins and who knows what kind of stuff traded in one place, in one single deal. They don't have to go different places. They can trade them all in one single deal. So a community connected is really kind of the dream here.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys achieve that. I mean, it's certainly going to be a fun journey to watch it from here. And hopefully you guys out there give Secure Trade Club a chance. You guys go on the site and check out everything that Eric and his team are doing. So once again, securetradeclub.com for anybody who wants to check it out. And I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool entrepreneurial story. And Eric, I appreciate you coming on. I wish you the very best of luck.
Man, I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely.
Everything you do is first class.
Thank you.
Honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it very much. All right, guys, securetradeclub.com. Check them out and let us know what you think in the comments. Take care.